afternoon. I'm Elaine Ellingham. I'm the CEO of Omai Gold Mines. I also will be making some forward-looking statements and also talking about some exploration targets, so cautionary statements there. Yeah, so the Omai Gold Mine project is in Guyana. It was a past-producing, large-scale mine. It produced over 3.8 million ounces, and when it was in production, it was actually the largest gold producer in South America. So it produced from about 93 to 2005, which some of you might remember was when the gold price was below $400 and almost touched $300, and this mine actually continued on and was profitable. So we basically got involved about 3 years ago. The project had reverted to the government, so best possible scenario, the way it was shut down in a low gold price, and when the company that was operating had other priorities, so basically they did not do any exploration. So I am an exploration geologist, and it was kind of an exciting opportunity. It looked like it was fairly easy, and nothing's easy in the mining business. However, it has come together very quickly. So yeah, a bit of a gift. So we have 100% interest in the property, and the permit was just renewed at the end of April, so it's good for another 3 to 5 years. So the government, we'll talk a bit about it, but Guyana is very welcoming. There's a very small population of less than 800,000 people, and 50,000 people of those are actually legal, registered small-scale miners, gold miners. So the country is very, very focused on gold production, but when Omai was in production, it employed like 1,000 people. So it was a good aura. It was when the economy of Guyana was really robust, and most robust, except for in 2015, there was a discovery of offshore oil. So there's kind of newfound wealth in Guyana. So I don't know if some of you follow that, but they have the highest GDP growth of any country in the world, and they're projecting that by 2027, the GDP per capita in Guyana will be the highest in the world. Okay, amazing. So definitely a transformational country. For us, we actually, we put out 3 resource estimates over the last 3 years, and we blasted through to a PEA in April, May of last year. So one thing to note is our PEA is actually only on 45% of our resources in one of our 2 deposits on the property. So we know that there's a lot of expansion ahead. So we're going to, the main objective for this year is to expand our resource, our deposit, and then do another resource estimate, and then step right into a PEA. And that's going to take in that second project and an expanded resource. So we're probably going to almost double our PEA. Those are the basic catalysts we're drilling this year. As a brownfields project, obviously there's some key points. It has been rapid discovery. It's cost us less than $250 an ounce discovery cost. We inherited a massive database of all the historic data, which was incredible. Obviously gave us a leg up, allowed us to accelerate. The known metallurgy, because it was past producing, and what we're looking at are extensions of the old zones. There's nothing completely different. So historically, 92.5% metallurgical recoveries, conventional milling, 35% came out in the gravity circuit, and with that 92% recovery, we would expect a similar processing plant in the future and similar recoveries. So power. We probably were talking, it is in the hinterland of Guyana, but basically there is a paved road. It's on the main corridor. We'll talk about that down to Brazil. But the one thing is there is a hydropower project about 100 kilometers to the west. And it was financed, so it's been approved, designed. Financing fell through, so they've retendered it. When that is built, that's going to be within 20, 30 kilometers of the Omai mine. So although you might be on the diesel gen sets, unfortunately for the first while, you've got hydropower in the not too distant future. So now, we did a PEA, and you might wonder why we did a PEA on just a small part of our project. It's because the footprint that we're looking at is basically an open pit and then an underground underneath the other previous open pit. So we were able to take that PEA and actually get an environmental permit for the project and a path through to an EIA. So Guyana is very welcoming to the development of large-scale mines. So they've been quite helpful. They look at the Omai project, they say it was a mine in the past, and basically we're looking at redevelopment, similar footprint, so we are going to be fast-tracked through to permitting. So just looking at Guyana, it has become a very hot destination. It's orogenic gold deposits, similar to what you'd see in Quebec and Ontario. They tend to be deep, robust, great producers. So one of the other things is that I think we're recently, if you've followed some of the acquisitions, Reunion was taken over by G Mining not that long ago at about 110 an ounce. Previous to that, in Suriname, which is only about 200 miles away, is the big Rosabelle mine. IAMGOLD had been operating, and they sold it for about $144 an ounce to Zijin. And there's other projects. We're trading currently at about $22 an ounce. So we believe there's a lot of upside there. Just looking, road access is incredible. And then the Guyana Shield, great geology, greenstone belts, as I said, similar to Quebec and Ontario. I've spent most of my life in those types of deposits. It's very similar, except you get that saprolite cover on the top. That's one reason why, of course, there hasn't been as much exploration or discoveries in the area, because they're kind of hidden under the saprolite. So Georgetown is the capital, and it's at the North Atlantic, but you can think of it, the Caribbean is only over a bit. And this is an English-speaking country, by the way. It's the former British Guyana, so they drive on the left, they drink tea for breakfast and things like that. So it's more like going to Jamaica. The English has a bit of an accent to it, but you get used to it. So we're basically, this is the main corridor that goes down to Brazil, and we're about 165 kilometers down. So Linden is the second largest city in Guyana. It's only got a population of 65,000. So that has a huge open pit bauxite mine that was operating since the 1930s. So a very local, large workforce with the relevant skills for open pit mining. And Omai is only another 100 kilometers down. And with all the newfound wealth, the government is investing a lot in infrastructure, so they're paving this road. They're about down another 40 kilometers. So I drove down a couple months ago. It's about 3.5 hours, not bad, to the Omai Junction here. So within about 8 months, we're going to have a paved road to within 8 kilometers of this project. You can see in addition, we inherited a nice airstrip, which is a nice to have. You can see the road there in the middle. It's a phenomenal road they're building. And then up in the top right, because it was a former mine, the site is cleared, it never reforested. It's sort of grasslands and roads pretty much anywhere and everywhere. So these are some of the old warehouses that we've refurbished. So we have room for about 60 people, and all indoor logging, all our core stored in there. And I think some of the other projects call us the resort. And then the bottom, we have some tailings facilities from the old days. And there's another place. Most of the engineers that have looked and worked with us are suggesting we would put tailings in one of the old pits first, and then we could do some dam raises on this. There's about 2 years capacity. So again, nice to have. So looking at the project and the deposits, there's 2 deposits together. They're sort of described there, but 3.8 million ounces out of those 2. We've been looking at extensions of those. So historically, like the Wenot pit, which we've focused our drilling on, and it basically we've identified about 2.4 million ounces, and they're broken into the indicated and inferred below. Historically, the grade was 1.67 in the fresh rock, which is great. And we've found that it has increased grade and width with depth. The other deposit would be underground, and we just put our first drill hole in that recently, and that was basically drilled by IAMGOLD right at the end after the mill had been removed. And so again, we've been able to do a resource on that, and that you can see has about a 1.8 million ounce resource, 2/3 of which are indicated and 1/3 are inferred. Yeah, so I guess most significant at the bottom, you can see our recent drill results. We've been hitting some really spectacular results, like you can see 3.16 over 68 meters, 4.57 over 45 meters. And you can see in this map, just briefly, these are all multiple subparallel vertical zones. So the Wenot deposit is huge. It's 2.5, 2.4 kilometer strike length. And down, a lot of people think if you're working on a past producing project that you're just working deep, but in fact, 94% of our PEA was above 330 meters. So good results. You can see on the bottom left, the grade increases with depth. We've done most of our drilling historically 200 to 300 meters, almost 1 million ounces at that level at 1.88. Rapid growth here, bottom right, you can see we've been year after year, we've done 3 resource estimates over 3 years. We did a PEA, and I'd suggest you drop by our booth if you want to get the details of that. But as I said, it's a baseline, and in the next iteration, we're going to add in the other deposit. Yeah, we're on the Venture Exchange. We have a cash position of about $8.5 million. We have 2 drills drilling currently on the property, and we're just receiving some of the last of the assays from our drilling last year, so we should be getting those out in the next few days.